Sometimes, life feels unfair, doesn't it? You lose something you hold dear. A dream you've cherished fades away. A door you was sure was meant for you slams shut. And in those moments, it's so easy to ask, why me? What did I do to deserve this? But what if I told you that every single pain, every frustrating delay, every unexpected detour was never a mistake at all? What if it was all part of a much bigger plan? This story might just change the way you see your own struggles. Once, nestled in a small, peaceful village, there lived a man named Ethan. He was known throughout the valley as a kind, hard-working soul, deeply devoted to his family. Every morning, he would head to his workshop near the edge of town, his hands skilled at repairing wooden tools and helping anyone who came to him with a problem. He shared his simple life with his wife, Maria, and their young son, Leo, a bright, curious boy whose eyes sparkled with dreams of exploring the world beyond the rolling hills. Life was predictable. It was good, until one quiet evening, when everything changed in an instant. A terrible fire broke out in the workshop. The flames, hungry and merciless, spread with shocking speed, swallowing everything Ethan had spent his life building. By the time the sun rose, casting a pale light over the village, nothing remained but a pile of smoldering ashes. For Ethan, it wasn't just the wood and tools that had burned. It was his years of effort, his pride, his very hope for the future. His neighbors whispered with pity, saying, "Poor Ethan, his luck has finally run out." But Ethan didn't complain. He simply sat on the ground outside his ruined shop, his gaze fixed on the smoke curling into the morning sky, and whispered to himself, Maybe there's a reason for this too." Days bled into weeks. To make ends meet, Ethan began taking on small repair jobs from his home, earning just enough to put food on the table for his family. He was holding on, just barely. But then, one night, another devastating blow struck. Leo, his beloved son, fell terribly sick. A raging fever, relentless chills, and long, sleepless nights filled with worry became their new reality. Ethan prayed harder than he ever had before. He walked 4 miles to the nearest town in search of medicine, his heart pounding with every step. But it was too late. Leo didn't make it. The pain was an all-consuming void that shattered Ethan's world. Maria's tears seemed endless, and for the very first time, Ethan felt his faith crumble. He cried out in his grief, "Why? Why would you take my child after taking everything else?" The silence that answered was deafening. Yet, even in the depths of his despair, a small, resilient voice within him whispered again, "Maybe one day I'll understand." Years passed. The sharp edges of grief slowly softened, though the ache never fully disappeared. Ethan learned to live with the emptiness, to carry his sorrow. With a newfound determination, he rebuilt his workshop, piece by piece, not just for himself, but for his community. He started a new practice, repairing the homes of the poorest villagers for free. Soon, he became known as the kind carpenter. He found a quiet sense of peace in serving others, a purpose born from his pain. Then one morning, a group of travelers passed through the village. Among them was a young man with a gentle but quiet demeanor. He stopped in his tracks when he saw Ethan at work, a look of recognition on his face. He walked closer and said, "Did you once live near the old hill workshop?" Ethan looked up, puzzled by the question. "Yes," he replied, "I did." Before the fire, a faint, knowing smile touched the young man's lips. "Then? You're the man who saved my life." Ethan froze, completely bewildered. "Saved your life? How is that possible?" The young man began to explain. "On the night of the fire, my father was working for you. You sent everyone home early that day, for reasons no one understood. That very same night, a powerful storm rolled in, and a bolt of lightning struck the workshop's roof, right where my father would have been standing. If you hadn't closed early, I would have lost him." Tears welled in Ethan's eyes as the story unfolded. He never knew that his personal tragedy, the closure of his shop, had saved another family from heartbreak. The young man continued, his voice filled with gratitude. "I grew up hearing stories about the kind man from the workshop, I dreamed of meeting you one day to thank you. Your act of kindness inspired me. I studied medicine so I could help people, just like you helped my father. In that profound moment, a lifetime of questions finally found its answer. Ethan understood. The fire that had destroyed his life had, in turn, lit the path for someone else's purpose. The loss that had felt so senseless was part of a larger, invisible tapestry. That night, as Ethan gazed at the star-filled sky, he thought of Leo. He imagined his son looking down from above, his face beaming with a proud smile, and he whispered softly to the heavens, "Now I understand, my son. Everything that broke me was building something greater all along." Sometimes, the answers to our most desperate prayers don't arrive in the way we expect. They often come disguised as loss, as delay, or as deafening silence. But I want you to remember this. Nothing in your life is ever wasted. Every pain teaches you a lesson. Every ending is the start of something new. So, when you're in the middle of a storm and you can't see the way forward, don't lose faith. Hold on. Because one day, you will look back and realize that every single step, even the most painful ones, was leading you exactly where you were always meant to be. Everything happens for a reason. If this story touched your heart, please leave a like and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. And don't forget to follow 4 more stories that remind us of the beauty in the journey. Thank you for watching.